Because the board wants to hear the viewpoints of the public and also needs to conduct the business in an orderly and efficient manner, it will schedule time during its regular board meetings for brief comments and questions from the public. The board will set a time for public participation prior to the business portion of the meeting. The time for each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and each individual will only be recognized once. If there's a large number of speakers, the board may elect to take comments for 1 hour before the business meeting and conclude public comment after the business meeting. Public comments and questions at a regular meeting may deal with any topic related to the board's conduct of the schools. Speakers may offer such criticism of school operations and programs as concern them, but are encouraged to exercise their speech rights responsibly. Personnel matters will be discussed in executive session.
You do. And I'll turn this over to Dawn since she runs our buzzer.
So for those of you who come up, you'll have 3 minutes. The green light will come on when you start speaking. When you have 30 seconds left, the yellow light will come on with a little noise, and that is your notice to wrap up, and when your time is up, it'll turn red. Our first speaker this evening is Maya Guthrie.
Hello, I am Maya, and I'm a student here at Thompson School District. I'm here to tell you why Gender Sexual Alliance is important to schools. It is a safe place for people who are out, or is an ally of the LGBTQ. In our GSA at my school, we have meetings every week on Thursday. We will have fun. We try to make plans, and it's just a fun place to make friends and know who's on our side. There's been a lot of bullying and disrespect to the kids who are out in the LGBT. A Gender Sexual Alliance at schools would make kids feel more welcomed when they're being bullied and disrespectful. Friends could become easier to make when you know who is with you and who relates to you. And it's just a great way to have support when you don't think you do from parents or other students in your school. Thank you for listening, and thank you for support.
Amber Speck.
Hi, my name is Amber Speck, and I'm a mother of 4 children in the Thompson School District. I'm here tonight to speak about School of Choice because I feel it's extremely valuable and more community members should know how it works. I'm here independent of the charter school presentation. My schedule simply aligned tonight to be able to come with 4 kids and their activities. It's the first time I've been able to attend in person. I'm also here today because I attended the community forum on Saturday that was held at Ferguson High, which is an alternative school in our district. If you haven't, and obviously this is more for the community, not for the board members, if you haven't visited before, I highly recommend that you do, because it is a beautiful facility that's providing an opportunity for teenagers who struggled in a traditional education setting to be able to thrive. And I have a couple of friends whose students have attended there, and they've spoken very highly of it. It seems, just from my research, that they have smaller class sizes and no cell phones are allowed during the school day, and it just has worked well for those kids. I also want to say thank you to all of the TSD staff members and board members that were at the community forum on Saturday, took time out of their schedule to provide that opportunity for community members to voice their concerns, to ask questions. And School of Choice, charter schools, was a topic brought up by a community member in my group, and it brought to my attention that many community members may not know about their options. Both New Vision and Loveland Classical School operate on a randomized lottery system that district staff have full access to. The enrollment of students with disabilities is fully integrated into the district process for placement, and it is determined by district student services staff. Anyone can apply for the charter schools, and they operate under the terms of the contract that was approved by the district board. They are autonomous. Just to parents out there, your neighborhood school simply may not be the best fit for you and your family. And I think it's wonderful that our district provides the opportunity for children to enter a lottery system at charter schools or at another district school that's not in their neighborhood. There are 2 tuition-free charter schools in our district, and both of those TSD charter schools have continued to grow and thrive in the last couple of years, even to where there's a waiting list. My older 2 children attended our neighboring schools, Centennial Elementary and Lucille Irwin Middle School, for 7 years, from 2014 to 2021. They could walk or bike to school with friends from our block, and that was a huge factor in our decision to keep them there despite the challenges. Honestly, we weren't aware of our options for school of choice, and we didn't research other options. But as soon as we did, we found a better fit for our family. So in conclusion, I strongly recommend that if you're struggling at your current school, you explore what else is out there. And thank you again to TSD staff and board members for providing a school of choice.
Heather Van Bentham.
Good evening, Heather Van Bentham Berthoud. I did a call-in comment for the November 2 meeting, but I was late, so I'm going to repeat a few portions here for the public. At the board meeting on October 6th, we heard a call-in from a woman who claimed that there are calls, quote, to remove books from classrooms and libraries because they are written primarily by people of color or members of the LGBT community and tell the lived experiences of these communities, unquote. This is a standard talking point we hear in the mainstream media, but you know what? I've never heard those words come out of my mouth or out of the mouths of anybody else who objects to the content of some books that are in our school libraries. This statement was the caller's opinion of other people's thoughts and motivations, and her assertion and its repetition in the national conversation do not equal truth. Here are some actual words from a couple of folks. California Democrat Rep. Eric Swalwell recently tweeted, quote, please tell me what I'm missing here. What are we doing next? Putting parents in charge of their own surgeries? Clients in charge of their own trials? When did we stop trusting experts? This is so stupid, unquote. Legal scholar and analyst and George Washington University Law School professor Jonathan Turley offered a succinct rebuttal. His summation was, quote, what Rep. Swalwell, a lawyer, is missing is called informed consent. Of course, the key to informed consent is that parents are given the information needed to secure their consent. School districts have been resisting such disclosures and pushing back on parental opposition to major curriculum or policy decisions. What is most striking about Swalwell's reference to patients and clients is that they, under his educational approach, have far more voice in wart removal or parking ticket challenge than the education of their children. If anything, his analogies support for the call for greater parental knowledge and consent, unquote. So, this is what those of us who've been pushing back have been asking for. Inform parents of what's in the library or being assigned in class and then allow them the choice. Allow them to opt in for their children to consume controversial content, some of which is extremely graphic in words and pictures. Parents who think that's okay are welcome to opt their kids in or buy the books they like with their own money and read them at home. District and board, please provide the information and please allow parents to provide the consent. I'll close with a thank you for Read Aloud yesterday. That was a great, fun time, very good experience. Thank you.
Brooke Martin.
Hello, members of the board, Dr. Schaefer. My name's Brooke Martin. I live here in Loveland. I am a parent of 2, and I also have been trying to tour our schools. I think it's important for me to see what's happening and know as a taxpayer what I'm talking about when I'm here. Unfortunately, some of those schools have not allowed me to come in to witness or to tour. But one school that did was Monroe Preschool, and so I'm here to talk about them today. This program they offer is both free and tuition-based, and once I walked inside, I understood why this facility is so loved in our district. They have several locations within the district that offer preschools, but Monroe is special. They have taken the time to make sure that it's conducive learning environment for kids. The bathrooms are tiny. Everything in there is for preschoolers. And they have a occupational therapy room, And many kids that have special needs are welcomed into this preschool program and receive help from people throughout the district. And so they've, with the decision to relocate this facility, that occupational room is not on the blueprint. There are many parts of this facility that are going to be neglected as they are relocated into the Peakview Academy. Also, they are combining the kindergartners with the preschoolers, and as we know, kindergarten's the transition out of nap time, so the environment is not as well suited as the current one. Now, I am not proposing that we completely get rid of this homeless youth idea. What I am proposing is that we consider a different location. They have, I guess I'm just so surprised that about 10 years ago, they took the time to reconstruct this facility and make sure that it was a right fit. So I just question this decision because I'm asking, is this really a good use of taxpayer dollars? Why can we not consider another location? And also, the Monroe facility is loved so much that they have a wait list to get in. So why can this not be considered as expanding into Peakview Academy and keep that blueprint as it is, but reconsider the idea of where we will put our homeless youth? So I know that's a big ask at this point, but I think it's really important to think about it. So let's prioritize our preschoolers and make sure they have a good, conducive place to learn. Thank you.
Lori Vizda Ward.
Good evening, Dr. Schaefer and Board of Education. I'm Lori Vizda Ward. I live in Loveland, and you might know me as a former school board member. But tonight I'm speaking to you as an angry parent. You've been bombarded by public speakers for months, most of whom do not have students in our district schools. I do, at least up until graduation day. They have been screaming at you about equity, social emotional learning, critical race theory, sex ed, and grooming. During my time on the board, I tried to keep my personal life personal, but I can't stay quiet anymore because the rhetoric I've been hearing from some community members is frightening me for our kids. I have a very traditional family. My husband of 33 years works, and I've mostly stayed home raising our 3 children. 2 are TSD and college graduates, and 1 is a senior in high school. They were all good students, active in sports, music, and theater. We are, as my kids would tell you, basic. Except one of my children began a gender transition in middle school. Because this really isn't anyone else's business, and to protect the privacy and safety of my child, we've not been very vocal about this. But the folks who needed to know, knew. The teachers and principals in the schools that we've worked with have been accepting and helpful when our child asked them to use their new name and pronouns and to allow them to use a single occupancy bathroom. And that was it. That's our gender transition plan. No school personnel asked or told us about hormone therapies or surgeries. No one encouraged my child to do either of these things. They simply said, let us know how we can support you. That's it. Schools are not transitioning kids. My kid has seen psychologists, pediatricians, and endocrinologists to be evaluated for physical and mental health readiness for medical intervention, which my child started at age 18. No one groomed my child. My child does not get special privileges because they are trans. In fact, it's quite the opposite. My child quit school sports because they got tired of being questioned about their gender, even though no medical transitioning had yet begun. Other students hassle my child about bathroom use, clothing, body parts, sexual preference, and they use slurs to describe them. Fortunately, my child is smart and brave and stands up for themselves. I'm speaking to you now because I can. My child will graduate in May and go away for college, so my concerns about privacy have lessened. But that's why you're not hearing from these kids and their families. They are afraid. They are afraid of being outed when they aren't ready. They are afraid of opening themselves and their children up to ridicule and discrimination. And they are afraid their kids are being shunned and threatened for simply trying to be themselves. You and our community need to learn from LGBTQ kids and parents like me who are willing and able to talk to you about these children and their realities. Thank you.
Andy Chrisman.
Madam President, Dr. Schaefer, members of the Board of Education. I'm Andy Chrisman, music teacher, parent, and president of the Thompson Education Association. At TEA, we believe that every student deserves a caring, qualified, and committed teacher. To achieve this, we need to do many things. We need to train and support excellent people who love kids. We need to support those people with pay that attracts and helps retain those people who are best for the job. And finally, we need to provide both children and educators with the resources, both material and human, necessary to help them succeed. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, total enrollment in teacher prep programs has declined by more than a third since 2010. The University of Northern Colorado states that enrollment in its teacher education program has declined by 29% from 2019 to 2021, according to a June article in the Colorado Sun. This underscores the need for Thompson to become more attractive to a shrinking applicant pool. That's why I'm so proud of the work we have done in reopening negotiations to propose adding 2.5% to the existing salary schedule as an ongoing increase. The negotiations team appreciates the ongoing commitment that this represents. This not only rewards the educators we have here now, but it also increases our salary schedule to make Thompson more attractive to prospective employees. I hope you will support this agreement. I know in conversations with each of you that employee compensation is a priority. However, we still have work to do. Even with the raise you hopefully approve tonight, we still lag between 10 and 20% behind our neighbors to the north and south in large parts of our salary schedule. The voters in the Windsor School District just approved a mill levy override to increase salaries. We need to make an historic investment in staff this spring in order to remain regionally competitive. I talk pretty someday. And get as close as we can to a $50,000 starting salary. But the agreement we will present tonight gives me hope and confidence. Confidence that we can keep working together on the problems that face us. Confidence that we will work together all the way to 50K. Thank you.
And we have 4 comments by phone, and they're going to be limited to just 3 minutes, just like we do everybody.
Hey, this is Christine Parks, and my city is Berthoud, Colorado, and I was just calling in to talk about school of choice, and that I have choiced both of my students into Loveland Classical from Terry Martin Elementary, and I am thrilled with the choice that we made for our family and for our children, because we are seeing exceptional growth, and they come home talking about learning. So that is super exciting. And we can support them at home with all the material that we see coming home from teacher feedback to homework. So that, as a parent, keeps us aware of what's happening and how we can support them at home. You can reach me at 303-725-0603. Thanks so much.
Hello, this is Elizabeth Newton calling again. 517 East Trilby Road, Fort Collins, 970-317-7199. We need to stop inserting politics to school board decisions. I believe that the message that we heard last Tuesday is that the average person is done voting for extremism, and that includes many of my fellow Colorado community members. We're done voting for people who just want to blow up the system, and this includes culture wars happening here in TSD. Our schools have much more important concerns like recruiting and retaining talent, helping kids learn not only academically, but socially while being inclusive of all students. When politics get infused into the classroom, it breaks down relationships between teachers, students, and parents. Teachers are engaging with students not only in the classroom, but the whole world where they live. The idea that teachers are indoctrinating students is ludicrous. One teacher stated, "If I could indoctrinate anything, it would be to bring a pencil to class and do your homework." These culture wars are a drain on our talent who are leaving this profession in droves. How is this good for our children? The people who are hurt the most are our students, particularly students who identify with some sort of minority identity or have seen their identities being censored and silenced in the classroom. It changes the ability of our rising generation to understand the world they live in. The result is we have a less educated, less democratic society than we have had in the past. Finally, it is time to remove or rename any social media pages that an individual associated with TSD references themselves as a political candidate. Start focusing on real challenges. We will not stand for attacks in this community any longer. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.
My name is Callie Anderson. I live in Berthoud. I'm a parent of Thompson School District students. I'm just calling in regards to follow up on emails that was sent out in late October, early November to every single board member. I want to thank Nancy. She's the only one that actually responded with a response to acknowledge he got the email. But Nancy was the only one that actually addressed or asked or answered any questions. I'm reaching out because multiple students and parents that I'm in contact with contacted me anonymously in search for answers through the district. And unfortunately, it has now been 2 weeks and there has been no help to them or myself. This is in regards to inappropriate behavior in the locker room. This is for safety for every student in the district. My concerns are, and the questions that were asked in the emails, is what is the policy to keep every single student safe and comfortable in a bathroom or locker room, whether it's on campus or during a trip? What is the district's policy on biological female students in male locker rooms? And what's the district's policy on biological male students in female locker rooms? What's the district's policy on co-ed hotel rooms for overnight competitions? Unfortunately, none of these questions have been answered. I did look up the policy ACE3, and I did, again, no one will respond, but from my understanding, that a student identifying as trans cannot be forced to use one bathroom even if a neutral gender bathroom is available. So if a student is on an overnight trip with the district and they're in the locker room and a student of the opposite gender is in that bathroom making people uncomfortable, the district will not do anything about it. So I have a really hard time with this because every single student should be valued. Every single student's opinion should matter. And the district only caters to certain students. And that is absolutely unacceptable. I have a son that's in 6th grade that would be absolutely mortified if there was a biological female in the restroom. I have a daughter that's in 7th grade, and she would be absolutely mortified if there's a male. And you guys all know what email I'm talking about, so I'm not going to go into the sexual content of it right now. But in my mind, it should be sexual harassment, and anyone that's laughing or mocking or rolling their eyes right now, and I wish I was in front of you because normally when I'm there, you guys don't even make eye contact. There were students that were interviewed at the high school And that is even more disappointing. They were told that if they wanted to remain anonymous, that they had to leave their first name and the first letter of their last name on. Kelly Colson, Loveland, Colorado. Tonight I'm going to speak about the heavy lies that have been spoken to many parents in this district. I only have a few minutes, therefore I will not cover every lie. We have been told over and over again by board members, administrators, and staff that you will not transition a child without parental consent. However, this is not true. You as the parent will never know this because behind closed doors of the school, your children are allowed to use any pronoun, name, or sexual identity they choose. You can check all of their paperwork, all of their Infinite Campus sites, school pictures, standardized testing, etc. And if you have not changed your child's gender nor name through the government paperwork, you as the parent will never know that your child is being transitioned with the support of the school for 8 to 9 hours a day. They can dress as they wish, they can be who they wish, and they can use any restroom they wish, any locker room they wish, and everyone will play a role, whether consciously or unconsciously, to defy the parent's wishes. Parents, you need to know that your child could be using a restroom with a child or adult that is not of the born sexual identity given to them by God. They can be sexually harassed in a locker room by an individual who has decided that day to be another gender, and the school will work to protect a transgender rather than the cisgender. The next thing that this district has lied about to parents is the implementation of collaborative social emotional learning programs put into your child's classroom curriculum. Yes, your child is being taught to be an incredible critical theorist and not a critical thinker. Your child is being data mined by Healthy Kids Colorado surveys, and these surveys are then being used by the Colorado School of Public Health during LGBTQ+ workshop in the Thompson School District. I've seen all the funding for these programs. I've seen emails pertaining to these topics of discussion and data usage, and you can access every bit of SEL program on the TSC website that speaks so proudly of their social emotional learning team of 10. They reference on the Thompson School District website CRT authors and activists. Parents, wake up and start realizing that your school is possibly transitioning your child without your knowledge, and they could be putting your child at risk for psychological damages as well as sexual harassment or assault. Collaborative social emotional learning is the umbrella for CRT and comprehensive sexual education. If you have CASEL, you have the rest, and we do. Good luck, parents. Wake up and rise up. Kelly Colson, 1416@gmail.com.
This concludes public comment.